Thanks for joining Driving Brian. I want to talk about startups. Startups. Especially here on LinkedIn, people love talking about startups, startup founders, what you got to do, the grind, how hard it is. Get an idea, hang out in an incubator, be in a co-working space, all that great stuff. Whole industry around what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and so forth. I've been pitched startups and been a part of them all the way back since early 90s. Unfortunately, there was a time where my career hit a point where I could have went one direction or the other. Stay in M&A, focus mostly on operating companies, going public, or chase the startups. Go for the big hit, the big kill. I chose startups. And yes, I know a lot about incubators, accelerators, getting a company going, getting it to revenue, all that type of thing. However, getting it to the next level is a whole nother story. And let me tell you something. If I had went the other direction, the M&A direction, I would have hit my number and I'd probably be at my goal that I had set when I was in high school of being part of an ownership group of a major league franchise. Not a minor league team, but something at the professional, at the highest level. MLB, NFL, NBA, that type of thing. I'm not saying I would have been the outright owner, but then who knows, right? But at least part of the ownership group, without a doubt, could have done that. Instead, like I said, it went the other way. And it is hard. Have I made money in it? Sure. There were a few companies that we got to the level where they could do small IPOs and we made money. And those transactions, though, almost all of them involved people from the very beginning that I have a relationship with, or had one then, that knew what they were doing, and the goal was to get it public. The whole process was laid out. It wasn't hey, we're going to go find venture capital and then we're going to do this. It was always designed for a public offering. Those were. All the others, nothing. All the deals that passed my desk, there's only one deal that became a major IPO. And that was eBay. And I was too young to know what the hell I was doing. So we went with some other auction companies. Outside of that, nothing. So it's tough. Now, that said, there's a way that most entrepreneurs don't think about, a way to make sure that you don't just lose your money, lose your time, the opportunity costs, all that you still find a way to, you put yourself in a position to make money, still have that potential, that big potential that you might have with, that giant IPO. But you have to go about things a little bit differently. How? That's thinking like an investor. Not just thinking about how you attract investors, but thinking like an investor. Using what you might have, whether it's great credit, get an SBA loan, or whether you do have some savings from the prior company that you were at, or whatever it might be. Go out and acquire an operating company. Acquire that operating company in some that has some shape, form, or potential avenue that your startup, your idea is going to need. And then you've got that revenue to rely on, so that when you go out to potential investors or you go seek additional capital, you've got a base, you've got some revenue. So you could talk about that, and you could talk about what you're doing and what you're moving forward with. There's numerous occasions where, going back in time, if we had the foresight to do something like that, we would have crushed it. So, that all said, I know now. It's what we do now. We look for companies, small companies, we acquire them, and we start feeding the technology into it. We start doing all the stuff we want, and we see where it goes. If you're interested as a founder in taking this alternative route and doing things just a little bit different, but really kind of ensuring for yourself, for your family, that you have something to show at the end of the day for all that effort that you put in. Something to think about. Reach out to me and we can discuss more.